Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host Jum. And I know we were doing horror this week, but we might as well end on one of the most loved movies of the year. I'm kidding. It's one of the most divisive movies of the year. Joker, Folie, Deux. So this is a no-brainer question, but were you excited for this one when the trailers came out?
Not really.
You know what? I was cautiously optimistic I think we had the same question in our heads, which was, why do we make a sequel? Joker 1 was so good.
That's why I wasn't so excited for it. It's just that the Joker movie, and I think people already promised, like the director promised that, like, no, this is it. There's no, like, when it came out around 2019.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, this is it. You're not gonna get any more Jokers out of this. It's just a one-off.
Like a
one-off.
Yeah, and we all respected that.
Yeah, right. We all respected it, and then they were like, "Hey, we got 2, and Lady Gaga's in it." I was like, "I wonder what story they're gonna tell then."
Yeah, like, to be fair, I think what they were going for, concept-wise, it's like The Room all over again. I'm not comparing this to The Room because The Room is a masterpiece. I'm kidding. No, but no, concept-wise,
more watchable than this.
Yeah, because it didn't have my favorite villain. No. But concept-wise, it's interesting. It's just like Arthur Fleck goes to trial. He doesn't know. They don't know if Joker was a separate personality, and then he sticks to his guns, and he gets corrupted by Harley Quinn, and then throughout the trial, he just puts on the show, and then he gets broken by the guards, and admits to his guilt the next day, and then gets murdered. And you're like, all right, perfect formula. And concept-wise, it can be good. Execution-wise, I was like, my God, this is moving slow. This is so slow.
I will say I did fall asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, like they were. Forgot what song it was, but I think it was like the Mountain song.
Oh yeah.
The Mountain. Yeah, like I think I fell asleep when they were like, oh yeah, he started like dating, like going out with Lady Gaga. Like they had that scene where they're like kissing. I fell asleep there, and then I woke up and I was like, "Oh, the Mountain song. What? How did we get here?"
Yeah, yeah. I watched this on HBO Max, and I was like checked out sometimes. Sometimes I would just like do other stuff while listening. Cause I'm like, what's happening on screen? It's not that interesting right now. But yeah, I had to rewind just in case. Like, did I miss something? So I did fully watch it, but like I was just so out of it. I was like, you know what, this movie's boring. If I'm being honest, it's fine.
It's very boring. Like, you could say the same thing about the first one, if that wasn't your cup of tea. But at the same time, like, the first one kind of kept you, engaged.
Yeah, and at least things happen. I do agree with most people when they say it's like Joker here never, or Arthur Fleck never grew. He ends up in the same spot that he did in the beginning, and you're like, what was the journey? It's like the opposite of Sophia Falcone in The Penguin, where she does end up in Arkham Asylum again. But what happened in between is like a lot happened in between. Like she escaped, she got out, killed her entire family, took over for a while, and then the Penguin fucked her over, and then now she's back where she started. Here you're like,
yeah, but now she's making friends. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, she has friends. Arthur has no friends here. I will say there are some good moments and some interesting characters, even though they are black and white bad, like the guard played by Brandon Gleeson, just a dick.
Yeah.
I felt
like
bad.
I really thought they were friends. Like when he patted him on the back, and the guy just smacked him over the head. I was just like, wow.
Like, man, that's the thing. I thought since they were talking about is Arthur and the Joker separate, I was like, I can't wait to see the Joker kill the shit out of you later on, and that never happened. So I'm like, am I just expecting too much from this movie? It's my Jokerism sticking over.
Dude, that was the thing I was kind of on the fence about. It was just like, I think, am I giving this movie a little too much credit that I'm kind of fascinating how I want this movie to end?
Yeah.
Where I'm like fantasizing. Sorry. Like, you would expect like Joker to finally snap, fully accept it. Like, he starts shooting up the entire like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Or maybe like blowing up a building or two. and they're like, yes, you know, like, yeah, this is him. He's finally out. You know, of course you don't want to see that, but like, it's the villain story that we want, and we're like, yes, be the combatant that Batman has to go up against.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to see. We didn't want to see a musical.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I love Wicked, and I'm starting to like musicals because of my girlfriend. But at the same time, I'm just like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, I'm just like, why did we? Why?
Yeah, and like I get that it's all happening in his head, like, but they keep beating that message too blatantly. Where I feel like Joker one was more subtle in its messages, where you have to watch
Like
it
we
again.
didn't know if he was like losing his mind or not. We didn't know if it was real.
Yeah, like the end scene where you're like, did he kill the person? Because we didn't know, because all the clocks are like the same time, and you're like,
Yeah.
huh, interesting.
Yeah, and like with him and his like girlfriend, we only find out with a big twist where he's like, oh, she's not really his girlfriend. It's just all in his head.
Yeah.
Like I missed that.
Yeah, well, speaking of girlfriends, I feel like one of the greatest crimes this movie commits is like not using Lady Gaga as much. She's here for a few seconds. I do like the idea of Harley Quinn being the corruptor of Joker, other than the other way around for a change, where it's usually Joker corrupting Harley Quinn, and like the way they use her here, which is not a lot, is an interesting thing. I just wish I saw more of her. I'm like, you got Lady Gaga, why the fuck don't you use her?
Yeah, I didn't like Lady Gaga's character here either. Her name's like Lee or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Harley.
Yeah, it's just Lee Quinzel, so I'm like, so are you Harley or not? Make up your mind, Todd Phillips.
And like, I don't know. And oh yeah, Harvey Dent's here too.
Oh yeah, like when the thing blew up, I was kind of like, how's his face? Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Ain't there yet.
Yeah.
Because like around that time, I think like Bruce might be just like still at 15. He's already learning how to like
take care of himself.
Yeah, he's at the League of Assassins already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you already mentioned the court scenes. I hated the fact that most of them were a recap of the previous movie. I was like,
yeah,
I already saw the first movie. Can you do something more interesting, please?
I will say something. I like this one scene where Puddles.
Oh yeah.
I hate how Arthur Fleck was here, but I like the performance of Puddles.
Yeah.
He's like, I am scared to go to work. I am scared talking to you right now as you are in front of me. And he, after witnessing like two people fucking get stabbed in front of him, or like one person, I forgot.
One person. It was a big dude.
One person gets stabbed in front of him. The dude's clearly traumatized. I was like, yeah, I would be too.
But that scene was great, but it was the most bullshit moment because you see Arthur or the Joker have regrets, and I'm like, bullshit. Joker doesn't give a shit. And like you see Arthur come through, I was like, God damn it! So it is separate. Fuck. Okay. Fuck you then.
I'm not gonna lie. I really hated this whole like Colonel Sanders voice that he was pulling.
We are here today to listen to Mr. Puddles. Mr. Puddles, is that your true name? I'm like, shut the fuck up! Can you just go back to being Joker, please?
Yeah, he's like just a southern lawyer.
Yeah.
Or he's like trying to be. I'm just like, what is this act that you're putting on? And not gonna lie, I kind of was like wincing a bit. I'm like,
yeah, I was like,
it was hard to watch.
Can't you just be like, so Mr. Puddles, how do you feel? I'm like, there's Joker.
Yeah, like
truly didn't know how to feel about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker this time around. And I was like, there's some things that I do still like his multiple variations of the laugh, but like at the same time, like I don't feel like you're committed to this as much as the first one. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just felt like he was just kind of doing the same shtick from the first one and just hoping it would work. Aside from that, there's one scene that I was like really like, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. It's when he got back to the guards and they essayed him, and I'm like, oh fuck, Jesus Christ.
Did they essay him?
It's heavily implied.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they just beat the shit out of him.
But yeah, after that he admits to being like, there's no Joker, it's only Arthur, and I'm like, All right, thanks, movie. Thanks for wasting my fucking
Alright.
time.
Yeah, and then like his girlfriend walks out, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna sing on the phone." Girl, like, not gonna lie, I don't like this whole like thing, you know, because I feel like some dumbass teenager's gonna pull it. He's gonna try doing that
Oh yeah.
and tries to pull it off, and I'm just like, you don't look cool.
Yeah.
You just look like an idiot.
Yeah, it's just I feel like the first one had a very well crafted message towards, society in general.
Yeah.
Well, here I think the
Yeah.
message was supposed to be pointing the mirror at people who are like, "Oh, the Joker's like me," and make them feel guilty. It's just that the way they executed the message, it was so sloppy, and you're like, "What? What?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?"
I didn't even understand what the message was. I thought it was just like, oh, it's a sing along.
Yeah. If any, did you like any of the musical numbers?
Some of them were just covers, but the others were like the mountain one, not really. Like they just had like one line all throughout, but I guess the score was great.
Well, they reused a lot of the score from the first one too, so I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think the only song I liked was Lady Gaga's at the end, the That's Life. And I'm like, alright, she's a
Yeah, it's
powerhouse.
cover.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, it doesn't count. Disqualified.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the ending?
Alright, so like by the way, yeah, we kind of glossed over it. Yeah, after the courtroom scene, the thing, like, they're already like, hey, he's guilty, he admitted to everything.
Death
That he
penalty.
killed, like, yeah, like 6 people. I was like, cool. Alright.
Yeah.
Is this where he becomes the Joker? Yeah, it blows up, and some fanatics who are dressed like him, like, try to rescue him.
Yeah.
And he runs off. He runs into Harley Quinn, or Lee Quinn.
Are they?
Yeah. And they're like, I like you because, I was Delulu and you were Delulu with me. But now you're not Delulu. You're in touch with reality and have regrets.
Yeah.
I don't like you. I was like, oh, this is just a toxic relationship right here.
Yeah. I forgot to mention she also like stays at the same apartment he stayed in with his mom. I'm like, oh, that's obsessive.
I didn't know that. Yeah. But yeah, so not gonna lie, I didn't like Harley Quinn here.
Yeah, it's barely fleshed out too. I was like, oh, you're just a bad partner. That's all you are. I mean, they've
that was
always
the thing.
been
I was just like
bad
the
partners,
entire time
but
she was. Sorry.
they've always been bad partners. But like here, it is one-dimensional.
Yeah, but here it's just like, oh, this is just a crazy girl who just wanted an interesting relationship.
Yeah.
She didn't believe in any of his what do you call it?
Ideas.
Principles or like ideals.
Yeah.
She was just like, oh, I'm just here for the the fantasy of it.
Oh yeah,
I was
she
like,
was some rich girl who checked herself into Arkham Asylum to be with Joker. And I'm like,
Are you
what?
serious?
Yeah.
Is that how it went? Oh my god! See,
Did
she
you-
is just like the horrible girl. She's like a horrible person.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that when you fell asleep the second time.
I think so, maybe. Because I didn't notice. I was just like, I legitimately passed out every time it was like, when it came to both of them.
Yeah.
And that is so funny that she's just a rich girl who's just like, hey.
I
like,
need excitement in my life.
Yeah, she saw like a really hot dude with tattoos on TikTok one time and just started stalking him. Like,
But yeah, the ending I think is just like I'm just like when he gets stabbed, shanked. I was like, again, thanks movie for wasting my time. I really
ooh, lordy.
like being here, you know.
And I love how Arthur was just like, I have a joke for you. I was like, is it quick? And just like, and by the way, the joke that like this Joker had wasn't even that funny or clever.
Yeah.
He even ripped him off. I guess that's the message because like Arthur Fleck is the original Joker. This guy is trying to be him, and so he just ripped him off. And yeah, you're like, oh, is he really the Joker? The dude cuts his mouth at the end, but it's blurred. You can't really see it.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, which was in the Joker 1, Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to do that, but since Christopher Nolan was still in Warner Brothers, he's like, no, he can. That's
That's
Heath
my
Ledger.
thing.
Yeah, that's Heath Ledger's thing. But since Nolan is no longer in Warner Brothers, they're like, yeah, you can do that. So
Yeah. By the way, in the courtroom scene, this lady goes, "In the state of New York, we find you guilty." I was like, "Don't you mean Gotham City?"
yeah.
Yeah,
She-
like no, she says New York. I was like, "There is no New York here."
they were just
Whether if you
confused.
combine Metropolis and Gotham City, they're a completely different thing. They're not New York.
Yeah, I think
I'm like,
that's
what
the
the-
moment the script. They were like, who cares at this point?
Yeah, somebody like messed up in the script, or like somebody was writing it. It was like, "Yeah, they're in New York, right?" I was like, "Yeah, but it has a different name." So they messed up there. I was just like, I was the one. I was legit like watching like this. When I heard it, I was like, "Wait a minute, that ain't right."
When were we in New York? I thought we were in Gotham.
Gotham.
Right.
Look, just go back when they're accused. They're already like the jury's already like, "Hey, he's guilty." They go, "In the state of New York." I'm like, no.
So, after everything being considered, what would you rate Joker Folie à Deux?
Hopefully I can say Folie à Deux. Or, how do you say goodbye in French?
I forgot my French. It was years
Yeah.
ago.
Anyway, I don't know. I didn't enjoy this movie at all.
Au revoir, I think. I don't know.
Au revoir.
Au-
Yeah, I'll say
au
au
revoir.
revoir to this fucking. Anyway, Todd Phillips, not really your best work, man. Like, there was no good build-ups to the musical aspect of it.
Yeah.
The entire thing was just so messy, and so it dragged on for too long. They showed us scenes where I'm like, okay, I feel like they're just showing us this just for the shock factor at this point.
Yeah.
And I love Joaquin Phoenix, but it's just this wasn't it.
Yeah.
It's not to say like again, they really went above and beyond with the whole "oh, I'm insane" kind of thing, and it's not in a good above and beyond. And it was just sad to see like how it ended. I'm just like, then what was the fucking point of this entire fucking movie?
Right.
Yeah. So I guess it's just to build up that Joker. We don't know who that Joker is, and how if we'll ever see him. God hope we don't. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Right, I forgot to give the score. Dude, I'm tired. I'll give this one a 3 out of 10. Like, the cinematography is
Oh.
great. The Joaquin Phoenix did a good job with what he was given, except for the Colonel Sanders impression. Again, I like that puddle scene where he's just admitting that, like, hey, he's traumatized and he can't even go back to work anymore.
Yeah.
I like that scene. Nothing else. Like, legit, nothing else. I guess the scene where he, like, pats the guard on the back and the guard just hits him over the head. I found that funny.
Yeah. I'll give this. No, since I am a big Joker fan, I'll give this a 2, just out of spite. Like, I don't get why you could.
You went I love how you started out with this, like, entire reviewer, like, oh, I think me and John will have conflicting ideals. And you go a step lower than I do.
I'm just fucking with you, man. I mean, we usually play, like, mess with each other at the beginning, or like before
Yeah.
the cameras roll. But honestly, like, I don't get why you couldn't just make a simple, like, the Joker's in Arkham Asylum, he corrupts Harley Quinn, they get out and cause chaos. And maybe since it's the 70s, maybe they do go out like Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know. Maybe that's how it ends for them.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. But like, it's just us meandering around Arkham Asylum, singing Joker and Harley sing. I'm like, I'm not mad that it's a musical. I knew that from the beginning. I'm like, alright, it's a different take. Let's see what happens. But the musical numbers don't make sense. They're so abrupt where I'm like, oh, we're singing now? Okay, sure. And again, it's such a blatant message of like, it's all in his head. I'm like, I know. You told me that in the first movie, but you're a lot quieter than the last time. Now you're just screaming at my ear. Joaquin Phoenix did what he could, so did Lady Gaga. The rest, I'm like, and Brendan Gleeson's always good. whether the movie's good or bad. I'm like, it's usually my favorite part of any bad movie. Like, I like Mad Eye Moody when he's a standout. But the rest, I can forget. I seriously forgot Harvey Dent was here until you mentioned it. I was like, right, the New York lawyer that everybody knows in New York is here.
You know, because there's crime, a lot of crime in New York.
In the 70s, that's why.
That they need a hero that they don't deserve in New York.
Yeah. And you're like, could have swore we were in Chicago anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the score is the same from the last one, so I'm like, I don't really need to mention that. Cinematography is great, but when you're looking at shit, you're like, wow, that's nice shit. I'm looking at it, I don't like what's happening, but it looks nice. What's happening that I don't like. If that makes sense. It's just, yeah, at the end I was like, well, thanks, movie and Todd Phillips. Thanks for wasting my fucking time. This is your worst sequel since The Hangover 2. So, yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, to the audience watching, what's your most, the worst or most disappointing movie you've seen in 2024? To be fair, this does not take the cake from Madam Web, in my opinion.
We already knew that thing was going downhill, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts more when you're like, I have expectations for you, you know? But yeah, if you like what you see here, hopefully you like us more than Joker 2. I'm kidding. If you like what you see here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. Why am I blanking? If you also want to see us elsewhere, we're also on Spotify and TikTok. Spotify to hear us on the go, whether you're in Gotham City or New York, and TikTok to see our best and funniest moments and our reactions to the latest of trailers. Individually, Zoda's voices on TikTok and Anne's Waffle Letterboxd. Where can they find you?
At JumJum on Instagram. It is where I got. Holy shit! I really don't like this movie. I'm also kind of like mentally tired that I saw this movie.
Yeah, the expectations just hurt, man. Where you're like, from the Oscar-nominated sequel comes this pile of shit. You're like, oh fuck. Anyway, till the next one. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.